I hear weird stories all the time, but I never thought I would have my own to share someday. This happened to me about a year ago, when I was basically stranded in the middle of nowhere. I'm in a band, and anybody who's in a band knows the struggle can be real. There have been times when we've played in rooms that literally don't have another person in the building. You take show opportunities whenever you can get them. On this specific night, I drove about 2 hours from where I live to play a show in a small town. The other guys in the band offered to drive me, but I told them I would drive myself, since I would be driving right from my other job. Because of my band obligations, normal jobs have always taken a back seat, and as a result, I'm broke. I sacrificed bills all the time just so I could put gas in my car to drive to these shows. When I was driving to that show, I realized my gas tank was not in a great position. By the time I arrived, I was closer to empty than I wanted to admit. After the show, my bandmates left before me. I grabbed a drink at a bar and hung out with the locals for a while before hitting the road. It was nearly 2 o'clock in the morning when I finally left. I pulled into a 24-hour gas station down the road and tried to get some gas. Of course, my card wasn't working at the pump. I had $5 in cash on me, so I used that and just hoped I could make it home. I wasn't very optimistic. I tried texting my brother to see if he could Venmo me some extra cash, but since it was so late, he obviously didn't reply. I started the long drive home, and I didn't make it very far. As you might expect, I ran out of gas. With almost an hour left to drive, I was sitting on the side of the road trying to figure out what to do. Service on my phone was terrible, but I could probably get a signal if I got out of my car and tried hard enough. Since it was so late, I didn't really want to call anybody and worry them, especially being so far away from home. I thought about just closing my eyes and resting for a few hours until dawn, but I didn't know if sleeping on the side of the road was against the law. It felt sketchy. I figured my best option was just to wait out the clock until morning. Then I could call my brother and we'd figure something out. I tried pulling up YouTube on my phone, but it wouldn't load because of the bad signal. I felt so helpless just sitting there. It was a real eye-opener. I really needed to get my life in order. I was sitting in my car for about half an hour when I caught something out of the corner of my eye. I looked out of the passenger side window. Standing about 30 or 40 feet away from my car was a person wearing a hood. They weren't moving. They weren't doing anything necessarily threatening, but that didn't make it any less terrifying. I don't care who you are or what you're doing. If you see a random hooded person just appear in the middle of nowhere, you'd be freaked out. I made sure my doors were locked. I kept my eyes locked on this strange figure that came out of nowhere. The only time I broke my stare was to check my mirrors and the area around the car to make sure there wasn't anyone else. There were no other people, no car, nothing, just this person with the hood on. When I looked back at the figure, I noticed they were moving very slowly toward my car, like unnaturally slow. I have never felt so helpless in my life. I was literally in a car, and I couldn't just drive away. It was like being stuck in quicksand. Eventually, they were within just a few feet of the car. I couldn't tell what they looked like in detail, but I could confirm it was a young woman under the hood, probably in her 20s. I tried shouting at her with my window completely rolled up, asking what she needed or if she was okay. She didn't answer, even though I was freaking out. At the end of the day, I still felt somewhat safe because I was inside my locked car. When she was a few feet away, she stopped inching closer. She just stood outside the car. It was the most unnerving moment of my life. Every minute or so, I continued shouting at her, offering help, but just like before, no response. This may sound crazy, but I tried to ignore her. Since I was stranded, I couldn't drive. My phone wasn't working, and I wasn't about to step outside. So I just decided to leave her alone. I tried singing songs and mentally working on chords, while this strange woman stood just a couple of feet away, watching me. Ignoring her proved to be harder than I thought. I couldn't take that horrible feeling anymore. I must have tried to communicate with her at least 10 times. Finally, I decided I was going to try to record her. I pulled up the camera on my phone and pointed it out the window, even though it was pitch black. As soon as I started recording, the woman moved in closer and started banging on the passenger door, trying to force it open. I wish I had kept recording, but the sheer panic caused me to freak out and drop my phone. It almost sounded like she was growling or grunting. The sound was weird, almost unnatural. All of this happened so fast, but I still tried to get a better look at her while she was beating on the door. She really did just look like a normal girl with blonde hair. She didn't look evil or monstrous, but I wasn't going to wait around for this woman to break my window and try eating my face. I grabbed my phone from the floor, grabbed my keys, and snatched my guitar from the back seat. I took a deep breath, unlocked my door, and ran as fast as I could down the road. While I was running, I looked back. The woman didn't chase me. I stopped running and looked at her. She was slowly walking in my direction, not running, not breaking into my car, just walking toward me. I shouted at her one last time, asking what she wanted. Still, no response. She just kept walking toward me. That was a big nope for me. I turned back around and ran as fast as I could. I remembered passing a whole lot of nothing on my way to the show. But before all that nothingness, there was a small town. My plan was to run as far as I could toward that town until dawn, and then call for help. I realize now I could have called the police at any moment, but in my mind at the time, it didn't seem like a police situation. As stupid as that sounds, where I come from, you avoid calling the cops whenever you can. It's an ignorant and stubborn characteristic. I know that. By 6 o'clock in the morning, I was finally approaching the small town. I called my brother and told him what happened. He came to pick me up, and we went back to take care of my vehicle. When we got back to my car, the back door was wide open. We looked inside. Nobody was there, and surprisingly, nothing was taken. I had expensive music equipment in the car, and she didn't touch any of it. All she did was open the back door. My brother joked that she probably just wanted a place to sleep for the night, but my mind went somewhere much darker. I thought, maybe she got into the back seat to hide, hoping that I would return to the vehicle later that night. Obviously, I never saw that woman again. This is one of those stories that I'll unfortunately never have a concrete answer for. I've heard all the theories about what she wanted and what she was, and they all make sense. At the end of the day, I think it was just a strange, nomadic woman wandering the area, and I happened to get stuck. I try not to think about what could have happened if she had somehow broken into the car. I did learn one thing from all of this, though. I always make sure I have enough gas to get where I'm going, because I never want to be stranded on the side of the road again.